So June 4th is a special day for me. It's not just my birthday, but it's also an important day in the history of the world. June 4th has had a lot of noticeable moments throughout all of our time, and it's changed our civilization and our society for the better. June 4th, 1783. According to History.com, Joseph Michel and Jacques Etienne Montgolfier were the first two humans to ever have achieved flight. They did this through a hot air balloon that weighed roughly 230 kilograms, was 11 meters wide, and they got the idea as they were sitting around the fire and noticed smoke was rising. They wondered if the fuel was the reason for this, or if it was the fire or the air. They originally came up with the idea. They made a balloon out of paper and cotton and decided to do a tethered flight for the first balloon. It reached a height of 3,000 feet. And on June 4th, 1783, we had the very first example of flight in human history. And roughly 103 years later, on June 4th of 1896, Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Company, unleashed, while he was still working for Edison, the quadricycle. It was a 500-pound, 10 to 20 miles an hour horseless carriage. He created this while working for Edison in Detroit, Michigan. And on that morning of June 4th was the first time the modern automobile was ever seen in human history. It would later go on to be the basis for the assembly line and the Model T Ford, which has changed our discourse immeasurably for the better. And both of these things culminate into one of the greatest events or tragedies in human history based on the way you see it. June 4th, 1942, the Battle of Midway between the Japanese and the United States of World War II. Japan was trying to push 6 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor farther into the Pacific to overtake America in the Pacific Ocean. Naval Special Intelligence received a code break known as AF, or the Midway Islands. During this time, they started to prepare, based on the National War Rescue Museum, they began to prepare for an invasion of the Midway Islands. There was also a diversion set to the Aleutian Islands, which they were able to counter against. So from 1783, you have the invention of flight as we know it today. 1896, you have the invention of the engine and the automobile. And then in 1942, on June 4th, the Battle of Midway, one of the greatest land and sea battles fought in the world wars. All of these things have happened on this special day that I share in common.